The Norwalk Community Coordinating Council has been supporting Norwalk social services programs for 82 years. This group of individuals are a hard-working team who volunteer hundreds of hours so that people here in Norwalk can live better lives. Let's give a big hand to the Norwalk Community Coordinating Council. I'll have your attention. We'd like to get started now, and we'll begin our program with an update on Norwalk's business community by Karen Spilsbury, Executive Director of the Norwalk Chamber of Commerce. Karen is filling in for Yolani Flores, the Chamber President. Please join me in welcoming Karen Spilsbury.
Thank you, Gary, for that introduction. And let me offer on behalf of our Chamber President, Yolani Flores, her regrets that she is not able to be here with us today. Unfortunately, she does work for somebody else, and that somebody else decided that she needed to be somewhere else today and not with us, and she really sends her regrets, so thank you. All right, now, if I can figure out how this works. There we go. Who are we? We are small business owners, entrepreneurs, Fortune 500 companies, local organizations, and community members. And although Gary didn't get to do all the VIP introductions, I would like to do a few of my own. If I could have our Chamber Board of Directors and ambassadors that are in the room, please stand to be recognized. These are the leaders of the Norwalk Chamber of Commerce who spend many hours each month volunteering to help support the business community. But there's more. Could I have everyone in the room who is a member of the Chamber of Commerce or works for a business that's a member of the Chamber of Commerce, please stand. All of you that I talked to need to be standing up right now. And I want you to look around the room and see so many people that you see in your everyday life, whether it's through business or coming to city events that are members of the Chamber of Commerce that are leading this community in positive economic development. We also create opportunities for Norwalk businesses to grow and succeed. How do we serve you? Through advocacy. We're a voice for business in 2 chamber alliances, the Regional Chamber Alliance and the Gateway Chamber Alliance, which are groups of local chambers and other stakeholders that come together to discuss legislation that affects your businesses and in turn affects this community. We're Women in Business Council. We network and partner with the Downey Chamber to provide professional development and networking opportunities for women. Men are welcome too, but it's typically focusing on women in the business world. We establish discounted pricings for our members on office products through Office Depot and a member-to-member discount. And we also have a whole nother list of member-to-member discounts that our members offer to the business community. We also like to put on candidates meet and greets. Some of you might have been involved in one of those last year. It was our first ever meet and greet versus an actual forum, and it was well attended, a lot of fun for the candidates. And we look forward to doing more of those in the future. And what does your chamber do? We connect you. We connect you to local, county, state, and national elected officials. Some of their representatives are here in the room today also. We promote Small Business Saturday. That is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, where we encourage our businesses and residents to go out and shop local. Walk into the store, buy something, and support your local businesses. This last year, we were able to be a center for the event where we had a coffee and refreshments at the chamber office before we sent people out of the door to get on their way to shopping on Small Business Saturday. Oops. I think I turned that off. Now, we support our local businesses with seminar, marketing, and networking. We had the opportunity this last week to provide a breakfast. I don't get up very early. John Alba of Alba Professional Services, H&R Block, was our guest speaker. And he shared a lot of information on the changes in tax laws. How many of you know what those changes are? If you were at the breakfast, you should know. Thank you, John. But there's so many changes coming our way. You need to be sure as a business owner or a resident or a guest to talk to your tax professionals and find out about those changes because they're going to affect you in many different ways. We support local businesses. We coordinate ribbon cuttings for new businesses. And we will even work with current businesses on grand openings if they have a re-grand opening, as we did here at the DoubleTree a few months ago. So we have a lot of fun with ribbon cuttings. As the chamber, we have a lot of connections and partnerships, and our number one partner in this room is the city of Norwalk. Without the support from our council members, our city staff, our new city manager, and the 2 deputy city managers, the chamber would not be able to offer the resources that we have for the businesses in the community. We appreciate their support and thank them. In fact, with a round of applause, if you would all join me for that ongoing support. We are part of the Norwalk Education Alliance, which includes the City of Norwalk, the Chamber, Cerritos College, Celico Workforce Development Board, EDD, and Norwalk La Mirada High School, the whole district, and Santa Fe High School, principal in the back of the room. Chris. It's an amazing partnership. The mock interviews and the Career Paths Expo that we put on are geared towards helping students and adults, whether it's learning how to do an interview for your first job opportunity, or whether it's finding out what you want to do in your future and how you get there, what steps you need to take. This partnership is amazing, and it helped the Norwalk La Mirada School District get the Golden Bell Award, which they were so excited to receive. Again, a round of applause, because that is very rare. Why I keep turning that off? This last year, we did our Business Expo for the first time ever in conjunction with the concerts on the City Hall lawn, and we were able to bring a health fair component to this event. Thank you to our Special Events Committee in the Chamber, Chair Linda Fisher, for getting a mammogram machine there to offer free mammograms to women, for getting our local doctors and hospitals there, and dentists and chiropractors to offer free resources to the community at that expo. Thank you to the City of Norwalk Parks and Recreation Services Department for supporting us in that event and for partnering with us in that event. Community Congress. How many of you, and these lights are, it's hard to see your hands raised, but how many of you attended the Community Congress? Thank you. How many of you are going to attend the next Community Congress? I think all your hands should go up, because there you go. That was an amazing opportunity to discuss 7 different important topics to the City of Norwalk, get feedback and information on how all the stakeholders feel about those 7 topics, whether it's a resident, a business owner, a school district member, a community stakeholder of any kind. Everybody came together and everybody was open and honest about positive and negative that they see in the community, and I am looking forward to seeing what the City Council brings out of that Community Congress. It's going to be amazing. Once again, we were in Angel Tree site this year for the Chamber. This year I had to actually go back to social services 3 times to get more Angel Tree tags. That many people on our board and ambassadors and community members stepped up to want to help the children in Norwalk. So that's never happened before. We're very excited and proud of that. We have upcoming with the California Department of Taxes and Fees a partnership to put on a small business expo on July 11th at City Hall. You're going to get more information about that coming to you, but keep that date open, because this is a great opportunity to learn all the new things that you might not know that are coming from the former Board of Equalization. And we also partner with other chambers to bring more resources, more networking, more opportunities to our businesses here to expand their reach and to get to know people in surrounding communities to hopefully increase their business development and do more with them. So a few highlights of 2017-18. The number one highlight, of course, is the Chamber has a new home. And we moved in January 1st. We had an open house on January 31st. A number of you attended. I'd love to have you stop and come by and see me. It's over 14783 Carmenita Road, right on this side of Lowe's Hardware. So if you want to come by and see the new home, we'd love to have you come by. Norwalk Chamber became a member of Instagram this year. We were previously on Facebook and Twitter, but now we have an Instagram account, thanks to our Norwalk Chamber intern program. We're partnering with Cal State Dominguez Hills. They're bringing interns to the Chamber that are free, which is a great word when you're a nonprofit organization, and talented. So I've had 5 different interns come to the Chamber and work with me on social media, website development, articles for the newsletter, attending events, and these are amazing young people just about ready to graduate and have their degrees. And if this is what we're seeing coming out of our colleges right now, I think that we're going to be in good hands as we move forward because these are amazing, amazing young people. We began, whoever's got this next, don't push this button. We began our leadership series breakfast. This is a quarterly breakfast where we bring topics to the individuals that attend that are of relevance to the business community. As I said, we just had a tax information breakfast. Our next one's coming on May 23rd. Topic to be announced on that. And then, as we mentioned, Norwalk-La Mirada Unified School District received the Golden Bell Award, recognizing the partnership of the Norwalk Educational Alliance. The other thing we did was we have a new logo. We were inspired by the city's branding committee to go and create a new logo, so the chamber decided that we would do the same thing. And thank you to Essen of Custom Made Graphics who made this logo for us. We absolutely love it. We were able to host the State of the Nation address with Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, and we partnered with 2 other chambers on that and brought it here to Norwalk, so we were very excited about that. We also had a 7-chamber partnership for a State of the State luncheon, and for the first time ever, we were able to welcome our new sheriff's Captain Jim at a Coffee with the Cop that was hosted by the Norwalk Chamber, so thank you, Jim, for attending that, and we really hope that we can do that again in the future. So what else do we have? We have creating opportunities for business to network directly with other local businesses and elected officials. We're continuing our business visits, going out and meeting our members in their property, saying hello to them at their business and being able to connect with them that way. And we increased our visibility by taking all of our members' social media links and putting them all on our chamber website. So every member that has any social media, go directly to our website, go to your webpage, and your links are all up there. So people can reach you from that one place. And I want to share with you a few upcoming events that we have. Our next event is March 7th. It's here at the DoubleTree Hotel, and it's an evening mixer from 5 to 7. We hope you will join us. Come by and meet some of these amazing chamber members and community members. On March 14th, our 5th annual 9-hole golf tournament at the newly renovated Don Kanabe Golf Center. It's from 4 to 8. And our events committee has been working very hard with this, and I want to shout out to Sue Arthur, who is the queen of sponsorship, Sue Arthur. She is amazing, and if you ever get her to help you with anything, you will be extremely grateful for her dedication. On April 11th, our next Women in Business Luncheon, we go to Frantone's Restaurant right across from Cerritos College at 11:30. May 23rd, as I said, our next Leadership Series breakfast, and save the date. The Norwalk Chamber is celebrating 95 years in the community. 95. We were founded and incorporated in 1923. So I hope you're all here in 5 more years when we'll be having a very big 100th anniversary celebration. But for this year, we'd like to invite you to come to our 95th Installation Awards. And if you have any questions at all, you can contact the Norwalk Chamber in many different ways. You can walk into the office. You can look at our website, you can reach us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, you can call me, and if there's something you need and we don't know it, we're going to find it out for you. So thank you all for your time today, and on behalf of the Norwalk Chamber and the Board of Directors and Ambassadors, we appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen, for your informative presentation. Next up, we have Captain Jim Tetreault of the the Norwalk Sheriff Station. Boy, I just spilled the beans. You're leaving. The Norwalk Sheriff Station. Captain Tetreault, a 28-year veteran of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, returns to Norwalk, where he has served twice prior to his most recent assignment here in April of last year. The captain served the Pico Rivera and Norwalk Station, as well as the Sheriff Headquarters Bureau, as deputy sheriff before promoting to the rank of sergeant in 2001. Upon his promotion to lieutenant in 2006, Captain Tetreault was watch commander for both Lakewood and San Dimas stations and executive aide at South Patrol headquarters. We are pleased to have the captain with us today. Please welcome Captain James Tetreault. Thank you.
Which button am I pressing on this? I think I should ask Karen what button not to push. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. I feel like I'm being interrogated because I can only see half the room here, so now I know what that end feels like. What a great day for this event and to share in the success of the city over the past year. We had a pretty good year this past year. Put that away a little bit. Crime in most areas was down. We can do better, and we always strive to do better. And if you're not working to improve it, then you're allowing it to worsen, is how I feel about that. So we're going to work on this year building more trust within the community and our business partners, and getting out a little more and doing more outreach. Although we've had some great success this past year, we could always get better at that. And it's neat to see some of the special assignment team deputies go around and make some great arrests in the evening, and then come back the next day and play tug of war or limbo in the park with the kids. You know, they're well-rounded bunch of men and women that just do an outstanding job. And I'd like to give credit to some people that deserve some of that credit today. And I want to start with Lieutenant Mike Inge, who has, for the last 4 years, thank you, Mike. He's done a fabulous job building a good, strong team of men and women that has transitioned over this past 4 years and morphed into what it is today. And it couldn't have happened without him. I'd also like to say I'm thankful for our strong relationship with Elaine Williams, who's the Chief of School Police for the Norwalk-La Mirada Unified School District, and Dr. Hazmik Danielian, who's the superintendent. Without those strong relationships, especially with what's been going on since last month, that's a tough thing, and we're dealing with those threats every day in the schools. And since then, we've dealt with 9 just in Norwalk since the 14th of February. So we're busy. 2 of those resulted in arrests. One, as you know, went nationwide with the El Camino High School incident. So it's a constant thing we need to pay attention to. And last but certainly not least, for the great support of the mayor and the city council of Norwalk, because we couldn't do it without you. We really couldn't, so thank you. They give me the resources I need to get that job done, and it's super important when you have the support like that to get those things done. So with that, I'm going to start this slideshow, hopefully not press the wrong buttons. This is just an overview of how we did last year. So, as you can see, arrests were up, commendations were up, complaints were down, calls for service went up to 30,000 this year, so that's quite a bit of calls for service. The E represents our response times for emergent calls. So anything that's going on right now, like a robbery in progress or a shooting, it would take us on average 4 minutes to get there. Priorities are 9.1 and routines are 39 and a third. Those are well below the established guidelines and goals we set as a department, which is pretty amazing considering if you've noticed the construction that's going on around here. A lot of citations, a lot of arrests, and you can see the policing hours there. About that, we've got the 4th, they did a study in our department, we have the 4th, a lot of feedback on this mic, the 4th busiest group of deputy sheriffs in the county. When you take into consideration the amount of personnel who answer, the amount of calls, the amount of reports that are taken, the arrests that are made, the citations that are being issued, Norwalk's the 4th busiest in the county, so that speaks a lot to the quality of deputies we have working in our community. So I'm very proud of those men and women. And I'll get to, let's see what we got next. The crime. Now this is an overall view. I don't really like this slide that much, to be honest. It's a national slide. It shows how well we do compared to the nation, but we always do well here. And it is what it is, but that's how the FBI compares cities across the nation. So we do well, but this is more specific to the local areas and how we do there. And you can see we're doing very well. We stay pretty consistent at that number. And that's Part 1 crimes include murders, robberies, rapes, etc. Now I will say that last year our murders were down 30% in the city of Norwalk, which is a pretty good decline. Rapes were down, robberies were down, grand theft autos were down, thefts were down. There were two categories that were up about 10%, and we're going to work on those two categories this year, and that was aggravated assaults, which can range from anything from domestic violence to shootings and burglaries. We've worked on that, and I can say now that in the past few months, it's trending down, so much so that year to date, shootings are down 50% and burglaries are down 15%. So we're doing it right now, and I'm happy to see that trend. I want to take a second to talk about these three, which a lot of you in the room already know about, but these affect you, these affect us, and these affect the community at large. And that's Assembly Bill 109, Props 47 and 57. Together, these have turned into almost a failed social experiment, if you will. AB 109, which was passed in 2011, was just meant to reduce prison population. It did that, but it pushed all those prisoners into the county jail, and it put the responsibility on the county jail to house these prisoners, which in turn pushed out the county jail prisoners into the population. It took the parole responsibilities away from parole and shifted them to the probation department, who at the time had no idea how to handle these more high-level, high-risk offenders. It also changed the way these people were violated. If they broke a term of their parole or probation, rather than get a year violation, they would get a 10-day flash incarceration, it's called. It's a 10-day timeout. And it just wasn't, it's not getting the job done, but that's what we have to deal with right now. And it did what it was intended to do, reduce prison population. But now, you need to know that when someone gets sentenced to a year in jail, a year in the county jail, they're doing 18 days. That's what they do in the county jail because there's no room for them. Two quick examples about AB 109 where people should have been in prison and were not in prison. One of them is the guy that killed Whittier Police Officer Keith Boyer. He should have been there. There's no doubt he would have been in prison if that had not been there. And the second hits a little closer to home, and that was a few months ago. We had some gangsters come into our area outside of Norwalk, come into Norwalk, and commit a walk-up shooting on a group of other males. And in their haste to get away, a couple of Mike Inge's special enforcement officers found these guys, and they tried to engage my two deputies in a shooting, and it resulted in a shooting where no one got hurt, but we got all three guys and we got the gun and got him off the street. And once again, that was another guy that should have been in prison. And it makes me angry to know that this guy could have killed another deputy because of this. So it's tough, but that's what we have to deal with. Prop 47, that was passed in 2014, a little over 3 years ago. Purpose of this was, again, to reduce prison population, and it did that. There were some unintended consequences, but it was meant to provide monies to battle homelessness, give job training, treat drug addiction, and it reduced a bunch of felonies to misdemeanors, such as drug possession, some gun crimes, writing bad checks, forgery. Those are all misdemeanors. And thefts, which used to be anything over $400 was a felony, now it's $950. So we have people, and I don't need to explain it to some of the bigger box stores like Walmart or some of the local businesses, but we have people gaming the system. And they know if they steal just under $950, they get a traffic ticket, and they get a couple months, they'll go to court, just like you would if you were speeding down the street. And they're back out before my deputies finish the report. Now, we still arrest them. Not everyone does, but in Norwalk, our policy is to keep arresting them, bring them in, at least inconvenience them, make them get fingerprinted, get a new photograph. So we do that still, but you do need to know that in Norwalk, we average about 200 arrests a month, and many of those are Prop 47 related. In fact, the most egregious offender in Norwalk has been arrested 38 times for this offense since its passage in 2014. So Prop 47 was hoped to have raised in the low hundreds of millions of dollars to do those things it was intended to do that I mentioned earlier. It only raised $103 million for that time, and that $103 million was for a 3-year period. Of that, 34.5 million went to LA County, so that's 11.5 million a year for over 76,000 offenders, which equates to about $162 per person for the next 3 years until the next grant dispersal in 2020. It's not enough. So now we have a never-ending cycle of homelessness and drug addiction, and there's no consequence anymore because they'd rather just go to jail for a second, get back out. There's no incentive. So it's really weighing on our resources. And last is Prop 57, which was it reduced sentences to inmates and offenders. And this one, it's kind of tricky because it eliminates some sentence enhancements, but I can just tell you that if someone gets arrested for a violent crime and goes to prison and then commits a non-violent crime, such as punch a corrections officer in the face or something like that, that's a non-violent. Now all of a sudden they're deemed a non-violent criminal, and they're eligible for parole much sooner than they would have been had they not committed that assault on the corrections officer. So it incentivizes, extra crime while you're in there. It's very frustrating for us, but that's what we're faced with. So these three together have been very difficult. There's some future legislation apparently being worked on, but just keep an eye out. We need your help with that. These are some of the charities we've donated to over the past year. We have a really great relationship with a lot of these, so they're a lot of fun. And our goals in 2018 are just to keep doing the same thing. As far as AB 109 and Props 47 and 57, we continue to swim upstream on those and continue to stay positive and optimistic and keep the deputies motivated and not get frustrated because they keep saying the same people over and over again. But they're doing a great job. We're going to partner more with public safety and code enforcement and show a unified approach because the whole operates, what is it? The whole operates a greater sum of the parts, right? It's more of a synergistic approach, if you will. But we're going to go out there and really make a difference this year. So I'm excited about that new partnership, and it should be great. And in closing, I'm just asking for your help to partner with us. We really need your help. We can't do it alone. We work for you. And you know the saying, if you see something, say something. But together, we can get it done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain, and I'm glad you turned that job down in New York and you're here in Norwalk still. I had to figure out a way to save that. So we'll continue our presentation by hearing from some City of Norwalk leaders. Kevin Gaino is a familiar face to many of you. After 14 years in law enforcement, Kevin served as Norwalk's first public safety director, holding the position from 1989 to 2005. During that time, Kevin not only dedicated himself to creating innovative programs in community policing, he was commissioner and vice chair for the LA County Department of Children and Families. After 16 years with the city, Kevin retired, but it seems that his work wasn't done. He continued to work for Foothill Transit, where he developed their transportation safety and security program. He also served as public safety advisor for Congresswoman Grace Napolitano. Now Kevin has returned to Norwalk as the deputy city manager, where he once again oversees public safety as well as social services. For those of you that don't know Kevin, Kevin has a great sense of humor. He has it now. He had it back when he was with us. Here's your fair warning. Everything is not what you think it is with Kevin. So that's what I'm just going to tell you. Please join me in a warm welcome to a longtime friend of Norwalk, our newest deputy city manager, Kevin R. Gaino.
Probably don't need this. Well, there it is. What a real honor to be here today and back in Norwalk to continue to serve the citizens of our community. As the captain indicated, the Proposition 47, 57, and AB 109 are real priorities. We need to really work with our legislators and our law enforcement community to repeal those decisions by our current governor and the legislature. We're going to talk about public safety. Do I operate this thing here? I got it now. City Council's vision. The vision of the City Council, after a lot of hard work, a lot of consideration, and wanting to implement a lot of change in our community, is to provide our citizens with a real and perceived perception of safety and security in their homes, their neighborhoods, in our schools, and in our community. In order to make that a reality, a common vision now, we need to take a two-pronged approach. One of them being as the captain indicated, a real aggressive approach on crime. And that means the gang activity, the murders, the robberies, the burglaries, all of those things that impact our community. But just as important, and the second approach, is dealing with the quality of life in our community. The quality of life deals with a broad perspective of issues, that including the vagrants in our shopping centers, the panhandlers, the junk cars, the abandoned cars, all of the things that you see in your community and in your neighborhood that have an impact or a perception and the ability to attract crime and be part of crime. Those have got to be dealt with, because we're not going to get a perception of crime. Even though crime is down, the perception is still there, and you are not comfortable, and you don't feel safe in your home, in your neighborhood, in your parks. The parks, we need to make sure that, again, we feel safe in sending our children and having picnics in the parks. Those are all the perceptions and all the quality of life issues that we need to focus on as well as we focus on the major crimes. How are we going to accomplish that? Team developing, reestablishing a team approach. And I've had the honor for the last month of working with some really dynamic folks. Our public services department, they do a terrific job. Our public safety department, our sheriff's department, our community development, and our code enforcement folks. They all are out there working very hard on your behalf, but they're not working together as they will be. That is our focus, is building that team, working together, and making it happen together. Working with the Sheriff's Department, building the network, community-oriented policing. We all must embrace the community-oriented policing culture, meaning that is the only way we're going to address both the real and perceived sense of crime and deterioration in our communities, in our neighborhoods. We're working with the captain. We have some really good ideas working together to make sure that we all embrace that community policing culture. Taking time to be in our neighborhoods, taking time to interact with our community, reconnecting with the community, both at the public safety level and the sheriff's level. It all will come together, and it's going to give a sense, again, of safety and security in our neighborhoods and in our homes. Public services coordinating efforts. Again, that's just, the team building. We are doing a lot of things. I just met with our public services folks. with our public safety, our code enforcement, our building folks, and we are going to all work together to address all those major issues, all the cleanup of the homeless camps, a lot of work to be done there. All the different things that, again, are most prevalent to you in the community and the neighborhood. The coordination effort is going to do nothing but get better and better and better, and the results of that are going to be seen, hopefully, rather soon. Code compliance. Our code enforcement team, we are very fortunate to have such a hardworking, dedicated team. Just recently, we'll go on. Just recently, we did some work, and I'll get to that in a minute. Again, team building. We're going to go to we're going to increase our interaction in our team building with government agencies, our probation department, our courts, our children and family services, all of the resources that we need to help us all do the work that needs to be done. We had a dynamic team with our probation department. We worked real close with the district attorney's office, with the courts. The courts knew what the priorities of the city were. And that, again, that's the panhandling and all the different issues that create a problem in our neighborhood. And when they cited them, they went to court. The judges knew that it was an important issue for our city, which made it very easy for us to deal with and correct it. Building teams with our nonprofit organizations, our faith-based organizations to provide food and shelter for folks that are in need. Focusing on families. There are a lot of nonprofit organizations, a lot of outstanding faith-based organizations in our community that help and work with the kids and the families, which is very important. Building the Norwalk team. What's real critical is reconnecting with our schools, with our principals, with the whole school environment. It's important that we reconnect and we start working together to address issues before they become problems in our schools. That's a real focus for us, and I'll get into that in just a minute. Utilizing all the resources and tools available to us. We're currently hiring additional public safety officers. We're replacing and updating aged equipment, beginning more visibility. We want more visibility in our shopping centers with our public safety and sheriff's folks. We need it in our communities. We need it in our schools. And we're working real diligently to make that happen. Some of the other tools, and I was talking to the sheriff's department and the captain, the deputies go out and they deal with the same house or the same problem day in and day out. And that goes on for way too long. There are tools that we have that are underutilized. We are bringing all those tools back together, public nuisance ordinances, the stay away ordinances that we work with the court and the district attorneys on. Those are tools that you'll see in a minute have been very valuable in dealing with problems. We cannot go out there and put Band-Aids on problems anymore. We have to go resolve problems. And that is the focus and the culture of all of the departments I mentioned earlier. Our public safety department, we're doing a lot of things internally So the public safety officers have the tools, the networking, and the team building to go out there and solve those problems. We don't have the money, nor do we have the time, nor can we look people in the face when they keep calling us time after time with the same problem. It doesn't go away. We need to make it go away, and that is a major focus, the problem-solving approach. Give you an example. Our nuisance abatement. This house that you see in this picture here for 10 years has been an attractive nuisance for tweakers, for undesirables coming in and out all day long, all night long. It has impacted that whole neighborhood. As you'll see, this is before, this is after. Within 3 days of me hearing that has been a problem for 10 years, we wrote warrants, and that was boarded up in 2 days. As you'll see here, this is a car that's been parked in neighborhoods. It goes from one spot to the other because they can only stay in one spot for 72 hours. And when we go out and mark it for 72 hours, he'll move it around the corner. And as you can see, would you like this in your neighborhood? I don't think so. They park right in front of some elderly lady's house who's 78 years old, lives alone, and she's terrified. But we keep moving him. We keep moving him. Very aggressive young man, to say, well, not young man, but he's a very aggressive individual. The nuisance abatement. That's his car. That's the conditions now. We had a little talk with him also. But the car is actually out of both cars that he owns. We haven't seen him in a community now for several days. Hopefully he moved on somewhere else. So those are just some of the things. Just before I came over here, I got a call. You saw the house over there I was talking about from a gentleman who lives 4 doors down. And he is absolutely amazed and thrilled how that was taken care of so quickly. And again, thanks to our property maintenance folks, in the last 2 weeks, we have written 5 warrants. And we started boarding up houses, getting rid of the bad folks that really have a negative impact on the neighborhoods. So again, those are the tools that we are using to be able to be more effective in problem solving. That's the direction we're going. This is really exciting to me, and I'm sure it's exciting to all of our schools. We're establishing a multi-professional school safety team with all of our schools. And I'm pleased to announce that Maria Ortega is going to be managing it from our public safety department. We're bringing in we've already made some contacts with some of our legislative leaders, and we're bringing in professionals, our mental health professionals, counselors, family counselors. And the objective is networking with all of the schools in our community and identifying adverse or aggressive behavior, or especially absenteeism, with students before they become a problem. The team is going to go evaluate conditions at the home, work with the family to find the underlying cause of that behavior or that excessive absenteeism. They will work, and we will do everything we can to get the child and the family back on track for the success of that student and that child and the safety in the future for all of our schools. We are really excited about that, and I really look forward to working with all of our schools, all of our school principals and superintendent. We have, again, another dynamic team of folks that we can bring in to help us all, hopefully, it won't be in my time here, but break the cycle. Break the cycle of what we're seeing out in our communities, in our schools. That has to be. The gangs, we have to, again, break that cycle. We were on a real roll there for a long time. We didn't see as many of the youngsters growing up to get into the gangs that we have seen lately. So again, we've got to get in, we've got to deal with the families. We have, again, using our public nuisance ordinance, and there's a couple of other ordinances that we wrote up years ago, where we go to the family of these young gangsters, especially these wannabes, and we let them know that you are responsible for the behavior and the actions of your minor. And if you don't, and we'll help you, we'll do everything we possibly can to get them back on track. But you as the parent are responsible. It's your job to make sure that they're not out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the night causing problems, involved in gangs, doing graffiti. And if you don't, you're going to be held civilly liable for all costs associated with his behavior. It worked, folks. And guess what? After we do everything we possibly can to redirect those kids and the family, if it fails, they're a public nuisance, number one. If they're a renter, they get evicted. If they own the home, we'll lien the property if they don't pay. So there's a lot of different tools, and some, we'll do everything we can in the front to help and work and get these people back on track. But if they don't, there has to be consequences. And with working, again, with our courts, working again with our courts, our probation officers, and all of those folks, we can make it happen. One of the biggest issues that we're facing, not only in Norwalk, but everywhere, is the homeless. And how they basically are negatively impacting our communities. And we have developed a team. Our social services department is heading up a team with a variety of services for nonprofit services, county services, the faith-based organizations, all trying to get these folks, again, back on track, housing, shelter, all of the things that we can do to, again, help these people and get them to be self-sufficient. There's counseling out there, we do outreach, and there's just a whole host, and there's a master plan that is being developed. The city council has been working on it, staff has been working on it, and hopefully we'll be able to introduce that within the next 2 or 3 months. Our priorities when we deal with the homeless, or especially those who are on the verge of being homeless, and I think we're really, really focusing on families with children in our community are having some tough times and are on the verge of being homeless. Our social service department gets right on it, and we give them whatever assistance we can do to sustain them until, again, they can get back on their feet. Our senior citizens who are finding it very difficult to keep their homes and be able to feed themselves and have the quality of life, we're working with them. We're getting them the services and the aid that they need to sustain. Veterans, a real priority. I just met with Congresswoman Grace Napolitano. She put me in touch with her veterans administrator at the district level, and we'll be talking about all the federal services that are available for our veterans, our homeless veterans, and our veterans down on their luck. Our other priorities, working with those people willing to accept assistance. There are a lot of them that don't. We have tried everything, and the social workers know them by name. They move from one place to the other. So we're trying to do everything we can for those folks. The big question right now is, what are we doing about the homeless along the railroad property? I just met with the top person at Union Pacific, and they are providing with us a right to enter their property. It's an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, to allow the city to go on that property to clean up those messes. What the team, in meeting with the team, our social public services team, we want to deal with these encampments before they become too big to deal with. So we are going to be working very hard. As soon as we see them starting to develop, we've got to deal with them. Because when they get so large, the amount of resources, the amount of work, and all the issues associated with moving a mountain, if you will, are prevalent, and it becomes very difficult to do. So we're really working with again, the railroad, very pleased with their reception. Again, building a team. When I explained to them that we want to help you, we're in this together. And they said, well, you're not like any other city we work for. They just demand we come in and clean it up, and then we're gone, and that's a monumental task. No, we have trucks, we have bulldozers, we have whatever you need. We're going to work with you and make it happen. They're very pleased and excited about that partnership with us. Community support. I can't say much about the need to gain the support and the backing and the input from our community. That's the only way that we're going to be successful at this. We need, again, like the captain said, the networking and how we can help each other. We can't do it alone. We need all of our community to be involved and be part of the problem-solving process. And the last thing I would have to say on that is that we all can make a difference together. It is my pleasure to introduce the next speaker. Born and raised in Southeast Asia. No, that's in the Southeast area. See how one typo will change your life, Gary? Gary attended St. John Bosco High School, Cerritos College, California State University of Fullerton. He worked in local government for 36 years, with 26 of those years being with the city of Norwalk. Gary started working in Norwalk as a recreation supervisor in 1989, same year I came aboard, and held that post for 2 years. Thereafter, Gary was named the city's volunteer services manager and started the city's first volunteer service program with over 225 volunteers working and assisting city services. A year later, Gary was named the director of public services, a position he still holds today. In 2013, Gary was also named deputy city manager, and he continues to hold that position. Gary's broad knowledge of city services, maintenance priorities, and overall general municipal service function continue to make him a valuable asset to the city of Norwalk. Gary is an icon in the city and amongst public service agencies all over. Gary.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm not sure if that means I have a lot of experience and I'm vital to the city, or if I've just been around a long time, I'm the old guy at City Hall. So, nonetheless, I have a short presentation on infrastructure, and I don't control the clicker, so it's going to be moving along quickly, and I have to stay in tune with it. Infrastructure, important to the city council, to the city manager. Basically, when you go buy a home, you always hear the comment, it has good bones. This house has good bones. Same thing with the city. The infrastructure is the bones. If you have quality infrastructure, you're going to have a good lifestyle for your families, for your residents, for your businesses. So our infrastructure is continuously improving. We want to make it reliable, we want to make it efficient, and we want to make it sustainable. When we talk of infrastructure, immediately you talk of streets. That's the first thing people see because it's very visible. Here's a rendering, a cutout of Norwalk, and these are some projects we just are working on or they're completed this year. So first up in that area was the bright green area. That's a neighborhood. Neighborhood streets are vitally important. We know that it's a huge undertaking, and I can tell you that going forward, the pace is going to seriously pick up on those repairs. This project showed 530,000 square feet in the central area. Here's a photo of what it looked like originally. Obviously, it's a tremendous improvement, and this is what we want to see more of. Here's more photos before and after. The second project, here are all the little red areas. Those are the second project that the city did. Again, this was 415,000 square feet at a cost of over $1 million. Before and after, it just picture tells 1,000 words here. You can see how badly alligator finished product. So these are very visible improvements, and this is where we want to go. This is where we want to be. And I know our city manager is already working on plans to get more funding to be able to do these. This reflects, this is Pioneer Boulevard. Everyone knows Pioneer Boulevard. We have a mile stretch, $2.3 million project. The work started, and we are well into it. All of the curb and the landscaping down the center medians is complete. We're looking for a window of weather, which looks like we're going to be getting starting next week, and to the end of the month, we should have all of Pioneer paved and striped by the end of March, project completed. Foster Road, this project's underway. If you've been down Foster between Pioneer and Studebaker, it's a Foster side panel project. We secured $3 million through an ATP grant. They're tearing out the side panels, they're gone already, and they're going to be putting in meandering sidewalks, lighting, there's going to be a new signal, bikeways. It's going to lead you all the way to the San Gabriel River Bikeway. Here's an architectural rendering of the meandering sidewalks and the green belt and the plant material. It's going to be beautiful. I mean, take a look at this, the palette. I mean, it's really going to be something. And there's also some wrought iron rails to keep the public in safe areas. This project will be completed in summer 2018. Future projects, and these are just items that are already scheduled, and there could be more coming online. You see the bright blue, those are local street improvements that are going to be happening in different areas of the city. The magenta is a shoemaker project that's going to be happening. The yellow is the completion of the Foster Road, and then there's some work that's going to happen on Imperial Highway from City Limit to Firestone. I know you've seen those center medians, and some of them aren't that attractive because of the water restrictions. So all those areas that used to have turf, we received a $450,000 grant, and we're going to be retrofitting all those areas with drought-tolerant plant material, and that's going to be starting here shortly. It got delayed just a little bit, but it will be completed by the fall of 2018. So look forward to that. Here's a architectural rendering of what it'll look like with different plant material kind of gives you an idea. It'll tie in very nicely to what we have on Pioneer. Sidewalks. The city budgets $250,000 a year to repair sidewalks. This year, $224,000. We're currently into that project. This is just a few photos showing completed sidewalk work through neighborhoods. We also do work in parks and throughout the city. Speaking of parks, the council was adamant about getting our parks in better shape, and that started a couple of years ago, and there's a huge turnaround. We're continuing to strive to improve our recreation areas. This year, we worked with Gerdes Park, Hermosillo Park, Sarah Mendez, Vista Verde, Bob White, and Zimmerman Park. A lot of improvements, a lot of landscaping. Installation of new walkways at Hermosillo and Zimmerman. We actually circumvent all the way around the park for people when they exercise, they're able to walk the complete distance of the park. This has been completed. Additional new landscaping. On the left side of the screen, you see what used to be. On the right, you see an example of the type of plant material, drought tolerant, that we're installing all over. This is a picture of what happens at all the parks. New playground equipment. Just 2 days ago, City Council authorized funding so we can put in 2 brand new play equipment, and these are expensive. I mean, each one's about $350,000. Here's a initial rendering of the Hermosillo Park, and you can see the new play equipment, and all that blue is called pour and play. We don't use sand anymore, we're not using bark. This is a safe and economical way to do your playgrounds. And then also Norwalk Park. There's the existing, and there's the new. And so that'll be coming online shortly. Just a commitment, it's a commitment from our council. In Norwalk, we're always looking to the future, but we never, ever, ever forget our past. And the D.D. Johnson Hargett House reopening this year, you can see what it looks like now. Huge undertaking, huge undertaking. I mean, all of the wood siding, the steps, the rails, all the windows, those windows operate with ropes. I mean, and everything was put back to its original state. So coming up shortly will be a new roof on it and completion of the water tower. The Norwalk Arts and Sports Complex upgrades, along with all of our public facilities. Here you see some new treadmills, new monitors. We're constantly upgrading, constantly. And then back out into the field. Gosh, we have to maintain things all the time to keep them up. So this year, we replaced 428 traffic signs, everything from speed limits to yield signs. We painted 93 crosswalks, 42,000 plus red curb, 19,000 plus linear feet of road lanes, and restriped over 13,000 square feet of traffic legends. It's a huge undertaking. People take it for granted, but if you want to keep your city operating and looking nice and bringing in new residents and businesses, it's something you need to do. Energy efficiency. We are lucky that we have an employee in public services named Christine Roberto who is all over energy efficiency. And I have to tell you, I mean, we're just moving right along. We're replacing incandescent lights with LEDs in our parking lots, on the courts at the parks, playground areas, walkways. It's very evident the improvement in the lighting. This year, we worked at Gerdes Park, we worked at Glacier Park, Hermosillo Park, Sarah Mendez, New River, Norwalk, Ramona, and Vista Verde, and Zimmerman. Here's Zimmerman Park. I think this is Zimmerman. Yeah, and that's some new lighting, and you can see the difference it really makes. We're replacing incandescent lights with LEDs. This is the Social Services Center. That's a before and that's an after. These projects are supported by $20,000 in incentives from Southern California Edison. We're replacing all of our air conditioning units, just everything to reduce energy costs and be more efficient. Just recently, the city installed 12 new electric vehicle charging stations down at the Transportation Center parking lot. Here you see the magnificent one, our mayor, Mayor Vernola, testing out the new equipment. And the city just received an award in Sacramento. I know one of our Councilwoman attended, and the city was given a gold level, and I can tell you, they're hard at work, they're going for platinum. Okay, we're getting down to the end. I'm almost done here. Tree planting. We have 17,000 trees in the city and growing. I can tell you that the city just 2 days ago was given 4th year in a row Tree City USA status. We only applied for it 4 years in a row, so we're right on target. We've done 3 tree plantings last year with the schools, with Chavez, D.D. Johnson, and Sanchez Elementary. We planted 300 trees. And I have to tell you, the kids getting involved planting trees, it gives them ownership. They buy into it. They're going to be able to see these trees grow, and it makes them want to be part of Norwalk. Mini Mr. Sun program. Our mayor had us bring back this program about a little over a year ago. We offer this program 12 times a year. It's an opportunity for different areas of the city. We do a different location 12 times a year. We bring out all the bins. We bring out public services staff, public safety cadets, the Teen Alliance program kids, the solid waste providers, and we offer an opportunity for people to clean up their properties, getting rid of some of that waste that's very hard to get rid of. It's very successful. It's another way we're reaching out, making our community better. And almost done. Now you're looking at things that we don't like to talk about because it's underground. Everybody wants it to work, but nobody wants to know about it. So we have, this is a picture of a distribution main pipeline that was just completed. No photos, but we're very hard at work with the sewer system. Last year we completed 28 sections that we've repaired. We just started on another 32, and shortly we've got another 35. It's a thankless task, but we're going to get it done because in the future we want to have a system that's sustainable. And to the very end, the big elephant in Norwalk, the I-5. We can see the light. It's at the very end of the tunnel, but we see it now. We hadn't seen it for a while. It's challenging, but we're making headway. In January, we just opened up Bloomfield and Rosecrans. Huge difference, huge difference. Residents, visitors can now access the north and south, and the south and north without having to go all the way around the freeway. Norwalk, Pioneer, Imperial Highway. These phases are set to be completed by the end of 2018. And I can tell you they're moving along because they just called us up with making sure that the tile was going to match the existing tile, so it's happening. And then when we get to that point in December, we should be inside of 2 years for the total completion. They're working at Florence, they're working at Valley View, and in 2 years we should be able to say, we should be able to not have to say anymore that all the congestion's in Norwalk. We can say the congestion is north of Norwalk. So that completes my presentation. Thanks for bearing with me on that. I'm going to turn it back over to the Master of Ceremonies. Thank you, Deputy City Manager. I've been waiting to do that all day. So, one last presentation, and this is the one you've been waiting for. This afternoon has been a welcome back for several gentlemen who have returned to continue what they started years ago. Our new city manager is no exception. Truly a local product, Jesus Gomez attended Norwalk High School. He attended Cerritos College, where he served as ASB president and student trustee to the Board of Education. He then completed his education at Cal State University of Fullerton. Jesus began his career in public service as a planning intern with the city of Norwalk. He also worked in the public services department, the city manager's office, and the finance department. Most recently, Jesus was the city manager for the city of El Monte. Jesus has also worked in the private sector, where he gained valuable knowledge as an investment banker specializing in municipal bonds and a financial consultant to cities. Jesus brings a world of economic development experience to a city that is asking, wanting more retail, service, and entertainment options. Okay, so I'm going to go off script for 30 seconds because I have the microphone and I can do this. Jesus worked for me. Thank God I think I was nice to Jesus. So, and I remember Jesus was Jesus was younger. You're still young, but you're younger. And I asked him, what do you want to do in the future? And he said, I want to be a city manager. And truly, this is a man who sets goals, and this is a man who accomplishes them. In the world of very successful people, we tend to use a lot of acronyms. So in the world of sports, I use sports a lot because I like sports, top athletes, the elite, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, they were called a GOAT, greatest of all time, G-O-A-T. The President of the United States, okay, boy, this is going to be tough here. The President of the United States has always been referred to as POTUS, President of the United States, P-O-T-U-S. Well, unbeknownst to our city manager, when I go up to City Hall and I go into administration, I turn to the staff and I say, come on, give me 5 minutes. And they just laugh because they know what I'm talking about. Come on, C-M-O-N, City Manager of Norwalk. Okay? So that's the new acronym you all need to know. So everybody together say, come on, come on. Join me in welcoming our new city manager. Come on up, Jesus Gomez. You got it.
What you don't know is that I mentioned to Gary, I'll be back. First of all, I hope you like this new format. We have the 3 top executives presenting their expertise and be able to provide you with detailed information about what the city is doing and what the city is doing with infrastructure, with public safety, and I'll be talking about economic development. Those are the 3 goals of the City Council that we are presenting to you tonight, or this afternoon. They have made it very clear to me as a city manager that we need to focus on these 3 really important goals, and so my thought was, what best to have them speak directly to the community with these, as experts with these 3 topics. And so what I will do is I will cover overall the city, and then I will go into our fiscal state of the city, and then speak about economic development. But before I do that, I want to thank the Mayor, Vernola, and the members of the City Council for giving me an opportunity to come back and manage the city of Norwalk. My roots began in '82 when my family moved to the city of Norwalk, and so Norwalk is in my blood. I want to make sure it is successful, and I know Norwalk pretty good. I'm not a stranger to the city. I've worked here in the city, so I'm very, very confident that with the team that we have and knowledge of the city, that we are going to be accomplishing some great things. And with that, even though I've only been here for a month, I'm going to provide you with information from the past year that the city has accomplished, and I'm proud to present because I have Norwalk in my blood. So with that, we'll go ahead and start. And the one I think constant message that you will hear amongst the executives and myself is that we are going to be proactive. We are going to set a vision that the council will bless so that we're all working in the same direction. And so the major components will be community, partnerships, programming, and the fiscal outlook that I will address. With community, we have the one area that I think we need to focus on is how do we keep families here? They are an investment. We need to give them a reason to stay in Norwalk. We need to give those that are up and coming a reason to stay in Norwalk. That is one of the ways that we build wealth within our community. They are going to be the shoppers. They are going to be our residents. but we need to give them a reason to be part of the community. And it starts with the programming that we provide. It starts with having them engage with the community. And it also continues with having them go and get their education, become professionals, and return to Norwalk to be able to have this pride that continues, and also the wealth that they bring with them as young professionals. Part of the pride comes from the appreciation of our residents. Last year, on Memorial Day, the city unveiled a significant project, the Freedom Art Installation Art Project. We are eternally grateful for those who have served, and we have some here who have served in our armed services. The columns that are there are stately, and they should be. And it identifies each of the armed forces. And one of my models that I have adopted is, they have served us, it is time to serve them. And I'm proud to say that I have been involved in a Housing for Homeless Veteran project that just last week I was notified won first place in a national competition of veteran housing. And again, adopting that model, I think we can all serve them as a return from their service. We also have our Hometown Hero corridor, which is Imperial Highway. The banners are presented to the honorees, his or her family, by the City Council during a special presentation segment of our City Council. But they are displayed for a year on Imperial Highway so that the community knows who our heroes are that are serving our armed forces. And we have over 3,400 veterans. And so within our community, we learn to strengthen our community with the young adults. This summer's Youth Leadership and Junior Park Ranger program reach students of different grade levels. Both teach responsibility, growth, confidence, and self-esteem, and show the importance and positive effects of giving back to the community. The Wings and Parent program aim to bridge the gap between teens and their mothers and fathers, teaching sound decision-making skills and recognizing of early warning signs of behavior that maybe not be acceptable. We also have, like Gary mentioned, our tree planting programs, and with volunteers, local businesses, organizations that come together to build and plant these the trees with neighborhoods. We have Arbor Day, and we have these planting events that Gary described to be able to bring the community together, and they begin to have an invested interest into our community and what we do as a city. We're also involving our community in Art in Public Places projects. The latest has been the utility box artwork from the Girl Scouts and the holiday window painting that also gives pride to those that have come and provided these art pieces into our community. One of the priorities that we have spoken about within our executive team is community engagement. To me, that is extremely critical. I, myself, believe in it, but I also attend many of the community meetings. I also attend the commission meetings, I also attend different activities to be able to stay engaged. And that is throughout the organization, the expectation for us to be able to serve our residents even better. And so with that, we build partnerships. The goal is to be able to come together with all of our partners within the community. The Norwalk Education Alliance, the Chamber, we have the Little Lake School District, we have the Cerritos College Community College. But one of the really success stories that I'd like to share is the success of our youth with the mock interviews that has reached the excellent Bell Award, the 2017 Golden Bell Award for their mock interview program. I was fortunate enough to start my first day, it's been 30 days on the job. I started with that event that morning. And it was an amazing event to see these young high school students be confident, to be dressed in very professional attire. And I was also fortunate enough to address the Norwalk High School students, because I was a graduate from Norwalk High School. I was able to say, I was sitting in your shoes at one point. And so as long as you stay focused, as long as you get your education, you can go and spread your wings and be very, very successful professionals. The start, I said, is today, because you are getting an invaluable session of interviewing, and that is so critical to get your jobs. I said, most of us, we have high stakes when we're interviewing, because we're trying to go from one position to another. Today, you get to have a practice interview. And so you take advantage of it, and I thought the program went really, really well. I was really impressed with the participants, and I was also impressed with those that were providing the feedback as the interviews occurred. We also count with our faith-based leaders. We are very, very interested in their congregations because they impact our community. They are our residents. They are our constituents. We can get to hear from them what are their issues from a different perspective. Probably the closest, in my opinion, because they are probably much more comfortable in those settings. And so if we can hear those directly, we are better off because we can address those immediately with either public safety or public services or social services, but we're able to hear that from the faith-based community. The Chamber of Commerce is a critical piece, very, very critical. One of the goals as part of the economic development plan will be, how do we keep existing businesses? That has to be part of the plan. How do we address issues that they are facing? How do we get to a point where we have zoning potential changes that are more friendly to businesses? We will be looking at those type of issues here in the near future. I was also fortunate enough in this past month to attend the Community Congress, an amazing event of approximately 100 stakeholders in our community that came together based on the City Council's vision to be able to address issues, concerns, request, make demands, or bring up issues that they believe are critical to the community. We had 7 different sessions or tables that they moved to different tables. I listened to the economic development table for each of those sessions, different community groups that moved from table to table. And I can tell you that what they expressed and what they have requested from that session, I believe is doable. And I believe it's doable with planning ahead, with a vision, with being able to develop that vision with the city council. And I think, as you'll see, as part of the presentation, it's part of the plan, part of my plan, to be able to have the city council create this vision, create this plan, so that as I get contacted, as the city council gets contacted, as residents or businesses get contacted, we know what that plan is together, so that we are able to deliver what we want and say no to what we don't want. Both critically important. And so at the Community Congress, I think from that, we will have a report to the City Council, but I think we're going to have lots and lots to be able to digest, and some of that will be included as part of the Economic Development Plan that I hope to be commencing here in April. I have requested visioning sessions from the City Council so that we can sit and be able to create this vision that they are wanting to provide to the community. Because there's lots that we can do, but if we have a focused approach, we can deliver in a much better way and sooner than later. We also have programming for residents. Critical piece to keep families in Norwalk. Critical piece for those who go on to get their education and want to come back. We have to capture those that have gone out and gotten their education, and now they should be able to come back and be proud to come back to Norwalk and buy homes in the city of Norwalk. And so with that, we have the concerts in the lawn, and our Parks and Recreation staff is amazing. They have so much energy, and they can do it all. I mean, I've seen from A to Z. So thank you to the Parks and Rec staff. We have our Easter egg extravaganza, another event that draws the families together. They have a great time. I know that the faces of those kids who are part of this just, smile from ear to ear. The one thing that I really like about this also is that the contest each year where residents who locate giant eggs hidden throughout the city are eligible for some nice prizes. I thought that was a really unique way to involve the community. And these eggs are placed all over the city. And it's a great way to create competition. It's a great way to have the Easter egg go beyond our city lawn. So I thought that was a really, really great addition to the Easter egg hunt. Our 4th of July. 4th of July is something that is celebrated, and it's celebrated with pride, patriotic, and one of the added features to that event is the Locks of Love hair donation drive. It's in the 11th year. Welcome to participate if you have lengthy hair. You can provide, I think it's 12 inches. My daughters have done it all their lives. They've been participants. And so, in last year, there were 114 participants that were able to donate for those who are cancer patients and suffering from hair loss due to the treatments with cancer. So we thank those who participate every year. And like I said, we welcome you to participate as well. Additional programming, we have the Arts and Sports Complex. Throughout Southern California, it is a jewel. It's talked about amongst us city managers. Not every community can say they have this type of facility. And so from being in other cities and in the private sector, communities always try and find a way to finance these types of communities. Norwalk is very, very fortunate to have this type of facility. And what's offered there is self-defense classes, basketball, ball courts, and so much more. And we have the youth and adult sports leagues for the more competitive athletes. And so for those of you, welcome to Arts and Sports Complex, and they have a fitness center, so if you're not a member of a fitness center, you can join at the Arts and Sports Complex. Also, the Cultural Arts Center is not only Norwalk's place of learning for painting, drawing, cooking, performing music or dance, shaping, sculpting, but houses the Mary Paxson Art Gallery, where local artists regularly exhibit their unique works, who have artist reception, where the public can meet and find out about the background of each piece. Our Aquatics Pavilion, another jewel. Here, some of the events that are held are the Aqua Carnival, dive-in movie nights, and the family fun nights at the pool. And we invite the community to participate. But one of the things that I always like to take advantage of is when we have a facility like this, is could we have a vision for a facility that has such prominence in the community? And that could be, having a vision for the aquatic center that we as a city and partners with the school district, that by 4th grade, we want the children to know how to swim, to prevent drownings. Think about that. Having a vision like that with the possibility that can provide to the community because we have an aquatic center. The Norwalk Senior Center, an awesome facility as well. Very, very lucky to have this facility. It's another jewel of the city, and that's where patrons can use computers. They have workstations, take art and fitness classes, hear seminars on a variety of important topics, attend monthly candlelight dinners, dances, and receive support services. Our senior services also offers quarterly excursions to museums, festivals, and other attractions at a discounted rate for seniors. Welcome to join some of those events. The next subject, I'd like to kind of set the table for the possibility of an economic development plan. It's the fiscal outlook of the city. We are a city of approximately 105,000 residents, not counting the undercount. There's always the undercount that We don't know the exact amounts. I estimate about 10 to 15,000 more related to the undercount. And so I wanted to show our demographics in terms of what we're looking at when we're looking at economic development and our future for the city. 2010 census, you can see where the circle is. It was between 10 and 24, where the majority of the population. Today, the median average is 33.4 years old. Household average family size is 3.9, larger than the state average, probably twice as large. Average household income of $73,000. Those are critical statistics in developing an economic development plan, because when we go talk to developers, when we go talk to tenants, when we go talk to potential property purchasers, they want to know what the city demographics, what it looks like. What's the profile? And so these are important numbers for us to be able to demonstrate to the potential investors who are coming to the city. Another important aspect of an economic development plan is number of households that are owned by residents. It makes a difference if there's ownership versus a rental community. And so what I did here is I put several cities just to kind of give you a comparison. Norwalk has a very high ownership rate, which makes us a very strong city to invest in. The reason being is that residents have a vested interest in our city. And so that makes a difference for the potential tenants that we're talking to, because they know that the number that you saw before, the 73,000 average household income, is most likely to stay at that rate. There's not a lot of movement between renters coming in and renters moving out. So critical, highest in these cities that I've selected, but it's at over 65%. Very, very significant for investors. Assessed valuation is another key component of an economic development plan. How quickly is your economy growing in terms of the properties? Are they turning over? Are people buying large properties? We have, in 10 years, from 5.8 grown to 6.8 million. So it shows a steady growth. And that is something that developers, that investors look at as we speak with them. They see that the assessed value is growing. So if they're going to invest in property, most likely their property is going to have an outlook of a positive return. Even if they just buy to sell or if they buy to develop. Either is the actual demonstrated by the growth. Employment for Norwalk residents. Another critical component, because what does that 73 average household income come from? These are the type of jobs that the residents hold. And so when I can speak to developers and say, these are pretty stable jobs, these are jobs that are not moving from maybe one city to another, or being able to have another city attract the employers critical to recruiting businesses. And so, as you see here, we have education, healthcare, social assistance as the top, about 20% of residents. Manufacturing, 15.7%, retail trade, 12%. Significant information for developers. Top 10 employers, another point that we can sell to developers. Cerritos College is the largest employer, followed by LA County, Metropolitan State Hospital, Norwalk Lamoureux Unified School District, City of Norwalk, Target, Costco, Doty Brothers, Little Lake City School District, Coast Plaza Hospital. Top 10 sales tax producers. Recall I said we need to make sure that the businesses stay in the city. Critical to our, us paying attention to these businesses. We have Costco. They're in alphabetical order, not as they, not the largest, not the most sales tax producer, but in alphabetical order. Costco. Number 2 is leases, vehicle leases, Hertz Rent-A-Car, Lowe's, McKenna Porsche, Norwalk Toyota, Target, Walmart. So these are the top 10 that, as I develop the vision meetings with the city council, some businesses that we need to really pay attention to make sure that they stay in the city. Sales tax, a steady growth. You can see from the first column, that was the recession. City has come out of the recession at about 11 million in sales tax. Steady growth. We expect that to continue to grow slowly as the economy improves and also as the businesses come online, that we're hopeful that we are able to recruit to the city. Another strong indicator is TOT. We have steady growth in the transit occupancy tax. That's the hotel tax. Happy to tell you that the DoubleTree is planning on adding another tower, another 80 rooms of luxury rooms. The industry is strong. We need to capture that with not only the additional tower, but if there's interest from other brands, that we can capture that at this time. There's financing available. There's expansion from different brands. And so if we can capture that as part of the city, tremendous opportunities. We're also internally looking at being more efficient. We're adding technology into our operations. We have upgraded our financial system to a cloud-based platform. We have also launched live streaming of meetings so that now you can see at any time, watch the city council meetings. We have also implemented NeoGov, which is a human resource software to be able to apply for positions at the city. Those that are coming online will be the Senior Center Activity Program registration online, pay by text online, check processing. Norwalk Municipal Waters will be able to pay by text. Business license online. I know that's really huge for businesses. You don't have to come to City Hall to either pay or apply for a business license. Saves you time. Just internally becoming more efficient with technology. And that is one thing that I continue to look at is how can we add technology to our operations to be able to have that efficiency So we come to the economic development plan. I set the stage with a couple of critical pieces of information that we share with developers and potential tenants. The economic and demographic profile city. It is very, very data-driven today. Very different than 20 years ago. Very, very different. Today, there is more data that is provided to us and developers because of this. Because of cell phones, there is much more data for all of us to be able to analyze, to be able to have handy, because when some of us select a day that we're going to go to dinner, we probably are looking here where we're going to go. We're probably looking at Yelp to be able to decide how many stars. And even when you're in the restaurant, if you're going to select a dish, you look at what the rating is of that dish. We have lots and lots of data. The one thing that I have done, from my experience, is I want to be better prepared than the developers when I'm talking with them. So we, the city, should have information very detailed about our economic and demographic profile. That can be broken down much more than what I presented. It is broken down into segments. How many residents make a certain amount of income? If we're looking at a specific tenant, I should be able to provide certain amount of information to give them the level of confidence that we have those levels to be able to support that business. And so that information is available. It's part of the economic development plan. It does cost money. It is something that we will use as we go and look at the different potential tenants, developers that are going to be invited to come to the city. Market demand analysis. That is one of the things that is probably the most critical for potential businesses. It tells us what sales leakage there is. And what does that mean? The sales leakage in different categories are segmented so that we know where our residents are going to dine, where they're going to shop, what type of shopping they're doing. And so when we look at this market demand, we will know which tenants have the most potential for growth in our city. So with that comes a strategy. There's lots that we can look at, but we need to be very focused. We need to be develop a priority. And one of the critical things that I will be asking the council is what we don't want, because that is as important as what we do want. And so through the visioning sessions, that will be part of the discussion. There are certain businesses that we may not want to have in the city. One of my goals is to be able to say, these are sales tax producers, these are, higher than others. They provide a certain service. There's a void through this strategic plan. There's voids where we can capture these sales tax because there's a leakage, and we'll know that information with this economic development plan. So it's very focused, very strategic, and the goal for the council is to develop the priority. What is it that they are looking for the city? My job is the implementation. Once we've done the economic demographic profile, once we've done the market demand analysis, once we've prioritized, now I go to work, the implementation of this plan. With that, we have stakeholder outreach, like you. We would go and develop some community meetings to be able to have these sessions and be able to get information from the community and hear what, if we're on the right track. To be able to get your input, to be able to say what you were missing in the community. Because remember, all this is data-driven. So now we need the input from the community. So it provides us with a better approach when we are prioritizing those that we're looking for. Marketing. There's a huge shopping center conference in Vegas every year. It's the International Shopping Center Conference. And the entire convention center is filled with tenants, developers of all kinds. You have hotels, you have the Starbucks, you have the Outbacks, you have all of the tenants that go into shopping centers, that go into retail centers, that are restaurants. You have those that are looking for business deals. The key is to be able to speak with them and give them your economic development plan, your vision for the city, because they want to buy into the vision. Part of what their investment is the vision of the city. If they can see that the city is planning a certain area, a certain district with certain potential tenants, they can buy into that program. Whether they're first, some are leaders, some are followers. And typically we know who those are that are leaders and those are followers. But once you get the leaders, the followers will come. And so having that strategy as we go to the International Shopping Center Conference is key for us to be able to begin that discussion with that tenant, that developer that we want in our city. Financing and incentives. This is probably where I can be very helpful. My background is in finance. It's been probably, I can say one of my successes has been because I know finance, I can structure finance deals. And the one thing that I always begin with developers is I say, I want a win-win deal. I want to make sure that we both win. I don't want it one-sided, because if it is, then I'm going to use other areas where I can actually get more out of you. So this, just make it clear that we're both going to be talking about a win-win deal. And what that means is that, we will help with, if we need CFDs, community facilities districts, to be able to finance infrastructure, if we need to be able to provide incentives for them to begin to look at the city. So, we'll look at that. But we want to make sure that you bring to us a brand that we're looking for. We want to make sure that if you're the Marriott, that we get your top brand if we're going to invest in you. We don't want the 3-star. We're looking at 4-star. So those are some of the negotiations that happen when we're looking at the financing incentives. There's a multitude of opportunities for financing. In today's market, the financial markets are in an expansion mode. The hotels are in expansion mode. So that's an area that we're looking at, that I've been looking at. I've been successful with that. So it makes sense to be able to bring those types of industries into the city. We are next to the 5 freeway that intersects the city, the 605. I mean, location, 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 that's Norwalk. What I'd like to do is I've been here a month. I looked at some of the opportunities that we may have for the city. These are what I call game changers for the city. They're very large properties. They're publicly owned. 3 of them, they're the larger ones, are publicly owned. And so, not by the city, but other public agencies that we are working on making sure that it's developed as that we're partners in the development stage. We have the property, that's the Tank Farm property. That is a 50-acre parcel, 15 that has been allocated to the park, the Hollifield Park. So we'll be, we just had a discussion at mid-year, we'll be master planning that park to be able to include the 15 acres into the park. But we have 35 acres for potential development. And so that property for sure will be part of a master planning and part of the economic development plan. Firestone in San Antonio, the city center. One of the goals there would be to start looking at where do we start, you know, and maybe we start with Front Street, that project or that area in terms of economic development. We have the former California Youth Authority site, 35 acres of potential development. Critical, it's actually positioned in a very strategic place. From my perspective, it's close to the transportation center. It's next to the Metrolink. There is so much we could do in working with the state to be able to bring a development that's acceptable to the city. So we'll be talking about these properties as we begin our visioning sessions with the City Council. We have the Norwalk Government Center, Imperial Center. They have been interested in developing that property with additional office space and additional tenants, and so that is in discussions. Hopefully this year, something may move to be able to create some synergy in that center. I put this slide up here because I think there's a potential for an entertainment district. And in the economic development world, the most difficult thing to do is to have an anchor tenant that has parking. And most of the time, you're looking at communities who are either looking for several restaurants to begin that, which brings the synergy between the tenants, the restaurants. Most of the time, they're looking for a theater because it creates traffic that begins to develop around there because of the traffic flow that a theater produces. So, from my opinion, it has the bones to be able to create an entertainment district. And how do we maximize that? We have the anchor tenant. We have the traffic that most tenants look for. And so that is going to be a discussion that I will be having with our city council. Because in most consultants will agree, you're always looking for that anchor tenant. Here, it already exists. And so what I'd like to be able to do is to expand on that entertainment and create an entertainment district surrounding that area. The DoubleTree expansion, mentioned earlier, they're in an expansion mode. We just got word that they're looking to expand and add 80 luxury rooms, another tower. And so one of the priorities will be, how do we fast track their project, their approval process, so that the sooner they can start building, the sooner they come up, the sooner we start getting TOT. So there's an incentive for us to be able to help them be able to get the project get completed sooner than later, because we want to see the TOT that's going to be generated from these additional 80 rooms. We have the Norwalk Fitness Village. That's under construction. They're grading. You drive by, you can see the large equipment there that is working to finish the grading. But here's some renderings that are going in there. We have LA Fitness going in there. We have Panera Bread and Chick-fil-A that will be tenants at that center. That had been a long time vacant property. We're seeing investments from outside and other countries, and I think this is a product of that as well. They'll have a sort of an entertainment plaza within the development, which is, I think, a nice amenity for residents who are visiting and dining there. This is what it will look like from the Bloomfield Imperial intersection. That concludes my presentation. I want to thank all of you for staying here and listening to our presentations. The one thing that I have left is a video. We have a short video, and then we'll have Mayor Vernola do our closing comments. With that, thank you very much.
The City of Norwalk, a connected community. Norwalk is a connected community. With a population of over 105,000 people, Norwalk still retains small-town sensibilities through award-winning programs, neighborhood events, and residents joined in a common desire for safety, quality of life, education, and business opportunities. How do we connect? We connect through community events. Families and friends come together to celebrate throughout the year at city events, like our Snowfest and tree lighting ceremony, Easter egg extravaganza, Independence Day pageant, and Halloween festival. Thousands of people of all ages attend these programs, where they can enjoy the company of neighbors and friends, old and new, in a safe, fun environment. In addition to these major seasonal events, our Recreation and Park Services Department features programs like Movies in the Park, tours of the historical Hargett House Museum, and our growing series Summer Concerts on the Lawn. Our award-winning Artastic Festival draws young local talent in numerous mediums, culminating in a day-long interactive exhibit that includes chalk art, open mic night, and the Scholarship Award Program. Recently, the California Park and Recreation Society announced that the City of Norwalk would be honored with their 2018 Award of Excellence for our Miniaches de Norwalk program. These young musicians continue to honor cultural tradition in music and performance and act as our ambassadors throughout the Southern California area. We also connect by getting involved. This past year, the city stepped up its efforts to engage citizens through community forums, neighborhood watch association meetings, and more. It is our goal to listen to residents and respond in the most effective way possible, And residents and business owners have demonstrated their wish to be part of their city's efforts to improve. Last month, we joined stakeholders and local leaders for a social planning event we call the Community Congress. A full Saturday was spent discussing key issues for Norwalk as well as ways to address these issues. Close to 100 business owners, clergy, commissioners, and other influencers talked about the topics that they determined were most important, from homelessness to economic development, from public safety to community outreach. Soon, the resulting report will be presented to City Council, and we will move forward with a plan. We not only connect people to one another, we connect people to destinations. Norwalk's location at the heart of an expanding regional transportation network offers convenient ease of travel for school, work, or leisure. We are home to the Norwalk Metro Station, serving the Green Line and Metrolink systems for commuting to cities near and far. Our community is served by 4 freeways, the 91, 605, 105, and the 5. Our residents also have the Norwalk Transit System bus line at their disposal. While the I-5 widening project has been trying for commuters, we are seeing definite improvements, with the Carmenita, Bloomfield, and Rosecrans ribbon cuttings opening up much-needed interchange and community thoroughfares that bring traffic relief for drivers making their way through Norwalk. With the most recent reopening of Bloomfield Avenue at the 5 freeway, Caltrans was able to join neighborhoods from Imperial Highway to Firestone Boulevard for the first time in over 60 years. We connect with our environment. Throughout the year, the City of Norwalk provides opportunities for residents to protect and improve our world. On Arbor Day and during our yearly Neighborwoods programs, local organizations, students, and volunteers come together to beautify and strengthen our city's health through tree planting events. We're a Tree City USA community, maintaining over 17,000 trees. The city also coordinates and runs several yearly events focusing on recycling. Our used oil filter exchange, electronic waste collection, and shred-a-thon events see traffic in the thousands, showing us that we are a community that truly cares about our environment and keeping Norwalk clean. We connect through education and career opportunities. We have public and private schools dedicated to quality learning for students of all ages, from preschool through college. Our Norwalk Education Alliance partners continue to promote possibilities and pathways for students through real-world training and soft skills education. The 3rd annual mock interview series took place in February at the Arts and Sports Complex, with hundreds of interchanges between business owners, organizational leaders, and others giving students the personal insight they need to grow and develop as a potential job or college candidate. In 2017, the Norwalk Education Alliance, including representation from local school districts, the Norwalk Chamber, city staff, and career development partners, won the prestigious Golden Bell Award for their collaborative achievement in the mock interviews. Norwalk has undergone a lot of change over the last 60 years. We have, like other cities in the area, transformed from a landscape rich in dairy farmland to a bustling metropolis. We've grown to become the 14th most populated city in Los Angeles County. Despite these changes, we remain connected through engagement, entertainment, education, and more. It is this connection that sets Norwalk apart and allows us to move forward with focus, determination, and dedication. We are a connected community.
I have the honor of introducing our mayor, Luigi Vernola. Warm welcome.
You know, after hearing all our speakers, the state of the city is great, isn't it? You know, we are going to be the ones that change government. We're going to change their attitudes. People who break the law should be in jail, not on the streets. We need to elect state officials, federal officials, who think like people, not like politicians. I just had to say that because it just upsets the hell out of me that they got no brains up there in Sacramento or in Washington to see what people have to go through to survive. It's hard enough for law enforcement. It's hard enough for all of us. So with that, I want to thank the speakers who gave us good information and knowing that we're on the right path. And we're going to continue that path. We're not going to slow down. We're not going to stop for nothing. I did that once in my life, and I'm not going to do it again. The survival of the people depends on the people. You have to be involved. You have to be part of the solution to make the job easier for us. So with that, my birthday is on, what is my birthday? August 31st. So whoever's close to that, take a centerpiece or take a couple of them. So I want to thank you very much. God bless all of you. God bless the United States of America.